I enjoy this movie far more than it's actually worth. The A-Team. Released in June 2010, written and directed by Joe Carnahan. Runtime of 1 hour and 57 minutes, and I should mention that this is the extended cut. Best I can tell, the extended parts are the extra dialogue and a couple of extra little scenes, and they just pad out the plot a bit more. Plot. Starring Liam Neeson, Bradley Cooper, Jessica Biel, Rampage Jackson, Charlton Copley, Brian Bloom, and Patrick Wilson. Production budget of $110 million. Its domestic take was $77 million. Its foreign take was $100 million for a worldwide total of $177 million, giving them a rough profit of $67 million. Not the best return, but a fairly entertaining ride. Characters. Okay, so here's the good news. The big screen characters are much deeper, much more involved and developed and entertaining than their small screen counterparts. But then again, that isn't hard. Liam Neeson is Hannibal Smith. Well done, an engaging character as usual. Pretty sure they've enhanced his blue eyes in this movie the whole time. His eyes are startlingly blue. Can't really think of anyone who could have done it better. Very well portrayed, true to the character of Hannibal Smith from the TV series, but then just adds a lot to it, thankfully. Bradley Cooper as the face man. I liked it. He's not as smooth and urbane as the TV series though. This is your more rough and roguish charmer. Less style, more wit. Still very close, still very much in the area of his character. But the TV series Templeton Peck was just the smoothest guy. Cooper's version, a little more rough, but then again a lot more of a badass. Much more dangerous character. Bosco Baracus. Sadly, much like the TV series, probably the weakest performance in the movie. Not bad though, not terrible, just not up to everyone else's standard. Jackson still does his best. Well, you can see he's really putting what he can into this character, and he's mimicking in many ways all the mannerisms and approach and attitude of Mr. T. Unfortunately, you're being measured up to Mr. T. No matter how one-dimensional and average that character was, it's still Mr. T, and it's such an icon, good or bad, that it's really hard to measure up to. You believe it's B.A. Baracus mostly, not all the time. 50%? 50% of the time. Copley as Murdoch. Look, he did surprisingly well. I wasn't expecting to like this guy, mainly because you're up against Dwight Schultz, the original lunatic. But no, Copley does quite well. Really captures the essence and the lunacy, deranged genius of Murdoch. And I liked him. I really liked him in this role. He had that constantly shell-shocked look about him. He had that constantly slightly off sentimentality. That leaves Jessica Biel as the captain, then lieutenant, who's chasing them. And she makes her a very smart and dedicated and quite dogged opponent, chasing them down at every turn, never really trusting them until what, late second, third act somewhere? And even then, she's not 100% sure if she can trust them at all. I enjoyed her performance. I enjoyed her character. Her character wasn't terribly critical, could have been done by anyone, but at the same time, she did that role very well, and there was no complaints. Brian Bloom and Patrick Wilson. These guys were the villains. Brian Bloom's Pike. Now, he started off as a very generic, one-dimensional soldier support guy. Mid-second act and then third, he actually turned into a very interesting villain, very interesting character in his own right. Wilson, CIA agent Lynch. He, again, very bland, very kind of like generic CIA background manipulator bad guy, who turned into this bizarre sort of amalgamation of, I don't know, super spy fanboy and actual threat. But he was really having fun at his job. It was bizarre. I really liked it. I really enjoyed his villain. Just quirky, entertaining psycho. Didn't see it coming. Caught me by surprise. So with all these characters, overall, I was surprised how much fun I had with them. Aside from B.A. Baracus, who was actually outshone by nearly everyone else in the movie, including support actors, I had a lot of fun with this crew. They managed to make pretty much every character interesting while they're on screen. That's impressive. Not to mention a couple of original A-Team member cameos. Keep an eye out for them when you watch the movie. Much to my surprise, I'll be giving the characters in this movie a 3.75. Yeah, I know, right? That's crazy for this sort of movie. This is as much based on all those intriguing and interesting and genuinely good value support characters in this film. Might step it back to 3.5? Yeah, 3.5. 3.5. Story. Okay, I'll be honest here, there's not a lot to work with. In fact, this will probably be really quick. It is a really big episode of the original TV show. It's got your MacGuffin, it's got your chase, it's got the twists and turns, betrayals, the double cross, dramatic reveals, the shell game, the subterfuge, the spy games, the gunfights, the punch-ups. It's all of that with much better CGI, much better script, and much better budget. Now, think about what I just said. Think about the TV series and realize that it's a bit of a no-brainer. Of course it's going to be better. But that's the thing. It's just a TV episode made big. Interesting? Yes. Intriguing? Also yes. Clever? Yes. It's like the very best of an A-Team TV series, but it's still just an A-Team story. That's what you're going to see, and that is what you get. So, hey, as it is, the story's a 3. It's exactly what you wanted, it's exactly what you needed, and fulfills its purpose perfectly. No more, no less. Let's move along. Look and feel. Well, good news. This looks and feels like a modern military drama action movie. It's got everything you want to make an over-the-top, overblown, over-budget, super explodey and chock full of machine gun fire action movie. This is possibly the definitive example of a modern action film. Definitive? There's a misuse of English. For about 90% of the movie, it looks spot on real. You're buying to what you're looking at. And when they get silly, and I do mean silly, because they get very silly in this, to make up for the silliness, they go with some extreme camera angles, some amazing shots, some ridiculous kind of like stunt play, just to go, yeah, we know it's dumb, please enjoy. And guess what? As long as you're in the right mindset, you do. It's really hard to have a bad time with this insanity. It feels like a Michael Bay movie, only with a really good script. The uniforms and the attack gear look spot on, look good. The military bases look like what you'd expect a military base to look like. Hardware, the weapons, the missiles, grenades, and the boomy stuff. The tank, the planes, everything. Well done. Are they actual realistic? Who knows? Who cares? You're not there for realism. You're there for the A-Team. If you came into this movie looking for realism, you weren't paying attention to that title. It's the A-Team. Which brings you onto the CGI, which is very good value. You kind of know it's got to be CGI quite a few times because there's no way it can't be CGI, but you're buying it, so you don't really care. Overall clothing, makeup, hardware, special effects, backgrounds, cinematography, the whole thing looked good. It's in your face all the time, kept moving along, kept up with the script, which is important. At no time did the visual aspect lag behind the script. That's good, and sometimes that happens, which can really give you a disconnect in a movie. It did everything it needed to do, it looked great doing it, and you'd managed to keep you immersed. Well done, 3.5. Script and dialogue. Okay, you've got some absolute gold in this movie. And to keep myself on track, I'm just going to talk about just a few things. It's witty, it's quick, and it's clever. Okay, you've got to pay attention. You've got to concentrate, because if you doze off or you fade out in this movie, you're going to miss things. And whilst not critical things, it will lessen the impact later on in the movie. Character dialogue is well written. It's well rounded. It stays current and on point for each character. It's also quite funny, not slapstick funny, but just quick and witty. A lot of military humor in here, a lot of that out of place humor as well. We've got very tough guys talking about everyday things. You're kind of not expecting it, but also it makes sense. It sounds like small talk that soldiers and cops and agents would make with each other while they're bored on the job. And it's what allows all the secondary support characters to be so intriguing. All this witty little background dialogue that's floating around the edges of the main story. They really managed to fluff out some boring scenes or some pedestrian everyday stuff and make it, well, into a story. And I honestly think that's an art form. To be able to do that makes it feel good to watch. Another clever little thing they'll do is they'll have characters laughing at other characters. Not cheesy sitcom style, but genuinely human style amusement at each other. Case in point, you got Lynch and one of his subordinates. They're sitting there talking, and the secretary slash assistant walks in, crouches down and talks to Lynch. His subordinate turns to her and basically tries to brush her and says, "Go away, we're talking." She just turns around and shuts him down cold. At which point Lynch, the bad guy, starts laughing through a mouthful of chips at the fact that his mate got shut down by the hot girl. He's giggling, straight up giggling about this, and his subordinate gets a sooky look on his face. Just clever little things like that. Another example is Murdoch does some ridiculous stunts in a helicopter early on in the movie, as you'd expect because that's his character. It cuts back to the bad guys who are chasing them, and they're all going, "Did you see that? He did a flip. Woo!" They're enjoying it. They're enjoying the movie that you're enjoying. It's surreal and it's brilliant and I love it. Got all these characters, good guys, bad guys, or otherwise, having a laugh, getting along together. I don't know why it stands out so much. Maybe just because it's so well done and also so rarely done in the movies. Not even Marvel does it this well. Okay, time out. As you can tell, I'm fanboying about this. I just love seeing it. And I've never gotten so much of it in a movie so unexpectedly. It just blows my mind. This had an energy. This had some real sizzle to it. And I was thoroughly engaged. Other people may not like this movie. This may not be other people's style of movie that they enjoy. But me, script and dialogue for this movie, it gets a 4.25. I had me a very good time with this movie, and I'll be watching it again and again just for the dialogue options. Fun factor, guess what? I had a good old time. I was genuinely laughing out loud. Not just breathing through my nose more than usual, actual laughter. And when the movie gets truly silly, all the characters are acting as if it's as insane as it appears. Lots of screaming, laughing, and yelling, actually, which works for me. Really does work for me. So I had a ball with this. Honestly, it's not everyone's taste, I'm sure. I'm sure a lot of people are sitting there going, "Murray, really? You like this? You're scoring it this well? The movie's rubbish. The movie's trash." And in many ways, yeah, I kind of have to agree with you. But at the same time, oh, I've had some fun. Fun factor, 3.75. Final score time, and you add all these together and get yourself an 18. Little surprised by that. I'll be honest, I'm not always sure my scores are going to land. Sometimes I can talk myself up or talk myself down when I think about the movie more. But you know what? I'm going to have to go ahead and agree with me. It is that much fun. I really did enjoy it, and I really do recommend it if you feel like watching a largely silly but very entertaining modern action movie. This one's for you. So there you go. That's a review of the A-Team movie. Have you guys seen it? Did anyone enjoy it as much as I did? Or did you hate it absolutely? Please let me know down below or on the Facebook page. As usual, thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed my review. Hope you're having a great week and that you find some time to go and watch a movie.